The champagne flute trembled, but not in my hand. It was hers. "Get a job, you leech," my daughter-in-law shouted across the table, loud enough to still the silverware. "If you're watching this, subscribe and tell me where you're watching from." I set my napkin down and laughed, soft, clean, and certain. The kind of laugh that makes people check the exits. It was Sunday roast at my son's house. 12 place settings, linen to white for real life, and a centerpiece that smelled like peonies and lemon pledge. Faces froze like framed photos. Even the baby went quiet, a spoon suspended in chubby fingers. "Evelyn," Melissa hissed, eyes sweeping the table for allies. "You live off us, off Ryan, off this family." I traced the edge of my water glass with one finger. The ridges hummed. "Is that what you believe?" I asked. "Because if that's the story you're telling, we should get the details right." Her jaw worked, but the words didn't form. My son stared at the tablecloth as if numbers might appear there and offer him a way out. The grandfather clock in the hall ticked like a metronome, steady and slow. I lifted my handbag onto my lap and unzipped it. Paper rustled. Metal clicked. Melissa's gaze snagged on the corner of a folder, cream, heavy, stamped with something official. "Funny," I said, folding my hands. "If I'm a leech, this must be the vein." The doorbell rang before anyone could speak again. "My name is Evelyn Hart, 68 last month, widow of a lineman who fixed storms for 30 years and mother of one son who forgets he grew up on casseroles and coupons. I live in a modest craftsman. I restored room by room oak trim, windows that stick in summer, a porch swing that knows every season. I walk 2 miles every morning, teach a free budgeting class at the library on Thursdays, and keep my late husband's toolbox in the hall closet like a reliquary." Melissa, my daughter-in-law, prefers stories with sharper edges. In hers, I am a burden, a barnacle on the hull of their marriage, an unending invoice paid in patience. She smiles in pictures like she's tasting sugar she didn't order, and speaks in declaratives that ask no questions. But every story has footnotes. I keep mine alphabetized. The Sunday roast had been her idea. Prime rib, roasted carrots, a trifle that leaned. She placed me opposite her at the long table, as if distance would muffle dignity. Ryan sat between us, 2 utensils in hand and no language for the space he occupied. What they didn't know, because I never needed to announce it, was that I consult part-time for the county credit union, 2 days a week, by appointment only. Quiet work, fraud patterns, elder account protections, paper that looks ordinary until it doesn't. I stopped telling family about my hours after the 3rd time someone asked if Javi came with benefits. So why tonight? Why escalate to leech with an audience? Why now, when my checking account could outlast a long winter and my mortgage has worn the word PAID for 7 years? Because something had shifted in our house's gravity the week before. Ryan had called in a tone I recognize from my library students' overconfident underread. He wanted to streamline the family's finances. He asked if my will was updated, if my deed had joint tenancy language, if I wanted things to be easy. He used phrases he never used growing up, words that didn't sound like him. Whose phrases were they? Who stood just out of frame holding cue cards? And if I were the parasite, why had I received a certified letter on Friday's stamped recorder's office, Summit County, when I hadn't filed anything at all? 3 questions, then, for any honest listener. What was Melissa trying to prime the room for? What had Ryan signed or been asked to sign without understanding? And what, exactly, was recorded in my name that I hadn't recorded? The doorbell, still echoing through the hall, promised at least one answer and maybe a price. A man in a navy blazer stood on the porch holding a leather folio and a portable stamp case. "Evening, ma'am. Mobile notary appointment for Melissa Carter." Melissa rose, smoothing her napkin like a lawyer about to approach a jury. "Right on time," she said. "Evelyn, remember what we discussed about making things easy? We just need a couple of signatures. 10 minutes. The notary's name tag read Adrian L. He stepped into the dining room and set a stack of papers beside the trifle. "Before we begin, I'll need current government ID. Also, and I'm required to say this, no one can be coerced." "If you're uncomfortable, I'm very comfortable," Melissa cut in. I opened my handbag and took out my driver's license. My hands didn't shake. "We'll review first," I said. On top lay a cover sheet titled Estate Streamlining Pack. Neat tabs. 1. Durable power of attorney financial. 2. Quitclaim deed. Joint tenancy with right of survivorship. 3. Transfer on death instrument. 4. PCOR Preliminary Change of Ownership Report. The quitclaim was pre-filled grantor, Evelyn M. Hart, an unmarried woman to grantees, Ryan Hart, and Melissa Carter, husband and wife, as joint tenants. My parcel number 17083120004 was correct. The deed had a blank for documentary transfer tax, and a box checked computed on full value less liens or encumbrances remaining. Ryan sat very still. Mom, this just keeps probate simple, he said. It's what families do. Who drafted these? I asked. A service, Melissa said. We used them for my aunt. Fast, affordable, everybody wins. I turned to the durable power of attorney. It named Ryan as agent and allowed him to create, fund, and modify trusts, open, close, and access financial accounts, and encumber real property. The box for immediate effectiveness was checked. The notary watched my eyes travel. Adrian, I said, do you already have an acknowledgement filled out? No, ma'am. I'll complete it in your presence if you choose to sign. I slid a letter from my handbag, the certified notice I'd received on Friday. Melissa, I said, if I'm a leech, why is someone already drinking? A flush climbed her throat. That's probably a mailing error, she said, or a clerical thing. We can fix it by aligning title. The service said if you sign tonight, we can correct the bank's file first thing Monday. And who, exactly, contacted this service? I asked. Her smile stiffened. We're a family. We make decisions together. Adrian cleared his throat. Reminder, you don't have to sign anything you don't understand, Ms. Hart. Oh, I understand, I said, closing the folio. Ryan, darling, take a breath. Melissa, thank you for organizing. Adrian, please leave your card. I'll sleep on it. We ate dessert under a silence that tasted like metal. When I got home, my phone buzzed. Summit Community Bank, new external transfer link added to. I set an alarm for 6:30 a.m., put Adrian's business card on the nightstand, and opened a clean notebook. If they were going to call me a leech, I would show them the teeth. At 6:31 a.m., I dialed the number from the fraud text and pressed speaker. The house was quiet enough to hear the water heater tick. Summit Community Bank, this is Carla, in fraud prevention. Calls may be monitored. How can I help? I received 2 alerts last night, new external link and a scheduled HELOC draw. I did not authorize either. Names, Evelyn M. Hart. Parcel ends in 004, HELOC. Courtesy notice arrived Friday. Carla verified me with a flurry of questions. Only I would answer: the color of my first car, the amount of my last property tax bill, the street I lived on in 1992. Then her voice changed, registers, lower, and firmer. I see the link request, she said. Device ID iOS 16 Pro. IP geolocation within 2 miles of she named Ryan's cul-de-sac. There's also an online draw authorization queued for 9 o'clock today. We can place a freeze pending review. I'm flagging this under elder financial exploitation risk, which gives us a 72-hour provisional hold while we investigate. Please do, I said, and email me a confirmation. Evelyn M. Hart, Agent, Carla N. Fraud Prevention. Actions: external link disabled, HELOC draw frozen, provisional hold per elder risk protocol. I opened my notebook. The first page read, Patterns make juries out of reasonable people. Below it, I started a ledger. Account: Summit Community Bank, checking 1,234. Auto deposit: County Credit Union Consult plus $2,475. ACH Hart Utilities, $118.73. Fee overnight certified mail, $8.95. Available balance, $42,611.37. If I were the leech, my balance didn't get the memo. Next, I searched the county recorder's online index. My fingers moved in the muscle memory. I teach retirees on Tuesdays. Document number 202509120. Deed of Trust Grantor Hart, Evelyn M. Beneficiary, Summit Community Bank, securing open-end deed of trust, HELOC, up to $78,500. Parcel 17083120004. Acknowledgement, Notary ID 176,542. State of Ohio. Document number 202509121. Quitclaim, Deed Grantor, Hart, Evelyn M. Grantees, Hart, Ryan and Carter, Melissa. Status: batch queued for September 29, 2025, 8:15. My heartbeat went very calm. From Carla N. Summit Fraud, cnelsun@summitcb.com. 2. Evelyn Hart e.hart@postmail.com. Date, Mon. September 29, 2025, at 6:59 a.m. Subject, Case SCB 2544118. Provisional hold, confirmation body excerpt. We have applied a temporary freeze to the pending HELOC draw and disabled the external transfer link added September 28, 2025, 21:43. Under bank policy, suspected elder exploitation allows a 72-hour review window. I will call by 14 o'clock with findings. By 7:15, I texted the mobile notary. 7:16 Evelyn. Adrian, this is Evelyn Hart from last night. Please confirm, did I sign anything? Did you notarize anything? 7:19 Adrian L. Notary. Good morning, Ms. Hart. No signatures were executed. No acknowledgement completed. I have your unsigned docs in my folio. Happy to provide a notarized statement of non-execution if needed. 7:20 Evelyn. Yes. Please prepare. I'll pick it up at 12:30 on the kitchen table. I laid out last year's deed. Grant, deed recorders, stamp, 201-8044512, Summit County. O. Evelyn M. Hart, an unmarried woman, legal lot 19, Holcomb, subdivision No. 3, Plat Cabinet C. Slide 82 APN. 17, kurang 08, kurang 300, 12, kurang 004. No transfer tax family restructure under Rev. If a quitclaim recorded today, it would collide with this history like ice against a hull. At 7:47, my email pinged again. Artifact 7, email attorney inquiry, from Mara Klein, Esk, MK Line, @kleinfamilylaw.com to Evelyn Hart subject, re limited consult, re, POA, abuse and clouded title. Body excerpt, happy to review, attach any documents. Note, a durable POA effective immediately gives an agent wide powers, but Ohio law prohibits self-dealing without explicit grant. Also, an instrument signed under undue influence is voidable. We can send a notice of revocation of apparent authority today. I forwarded everything. Then, for the first time in years, I checked Melissa's public Instagram. She curated perfection like it paid a salary. At 8:06, Carla called back. 2 items, she said. First, the device that attempted the draw used a saved login for Ryan Hart. Authorized user added the 10th of September 2025 to view your internal note, memo code FRELD72, SCB 2544118, applied by C. Nelson. All outbound HELOC transactions, frozen pending supervisor review, retention beat. There was a second quitclaim queued at 8:15 a.m. They hadn't even waited to see if I would sign. At 8:22, Mara, the attorney, replied again, from Mara Klein-esque. Body excerpt, attached. 1 Notice of revocation of apparent authority, re any purported Way 2, Notice to recorder of potential defect in pending instrument number 202509121. 3 Demand to bank re, continued freeze, and elder exploitation review. Suggest sending by email plus certified mail today. We will also prepare a status affidavit of owner for recording. By 9:03, after the recording queue would have run, the recorder's site updated. Document number 202509121. Status, rejected reason. Missing grantor signature. Notary acknowledgement. Adrian's silence had been my first gift of the morning. My second came from a name I didn't recognize. Thank you for your purchase. Estate Streamlining Pack $129. Purchaser, Melissa Carter. Note, includes, quitclaim, POA, TODI, PCOR, patents. Then, a service purchased Wednesday. A HELOC recorded Friday, a notary Sunday, a draw Monday. At 9:30, I picked up Adrian S. notarized statement and slid it into my cream folder beside the bank memo code. If Melissa wanted an easy story, she should have chosen one with fewer footnotes. Next call, I asked myself, keys in hand, title company, then the police non-emergency line for guidance, because the next step wasn't anger. It was procedure. The plan was simple on paper and slow in practice. Freeze the money, cloud the clouders, and put everyone who touched a pen on notice. Anger wanted speed. Procedure demanded sequence. Step 1. Memorialize. I printed Mara's drafts and added a cover note in my neat library handwriting. All communications regarding parcel to me, in writing. Paper narrows mischief. At 10:05, I called Summit Community Bank's branch manager line. A gatekeeper answered with the cheer of someone ranked on call times. Manager, please, I said. It's regarding fraud case SCB 2544118 and a HELOC freeze. After 5 minutes of hold music that sounded like a dentist's office, the manager came on. This is Dwight. I need 2 things documented, I said. First, that the authorized user view added the 10th of September 2025 to my HELOC does not confer transact rights. Second, that the external link to Carter Savings 7789 is removed and barred pending investigation. Under our policy, he said, choosing words like a man stepping stones, an authorized user can see but not draw, unless granted transaction permission by the primary. We'll add a note. As for links, fraud has already disabled. I'll append, do not reinstate without voice verification from primary at branch. Put it under your name. Dwight, with timestamp, I said. Obstacle 1. Policy fog. People assume authorized means do anything. It doesn't, but you must make the right person say it out loud. Step 2. Title. I drove to Heron Title and Escrow because they answer phones with their last names and remember birthdays. The lobby smelled faintly of copier, toner, and coffee. Evelyn, said Nora Heron, coming around the counter. What brings you? A cloud forming where I prefer sunshine, I said, and handed her the recorder printouts. She scanned, lips pursed. Good news, that quitclaim never recorded. Better news, we can record a status affidavit of ONA that affirms no transfer intent and references your prior grant deed. It won't block a properly executed future deed, but it announces to any buyer or lender, eyes open, something was attempted. What do you need from me? Government ID, the parcel number, and a 1-paragraph statement. We'll notarize here. Obstacle 2. Jurisdiction boredom. Title offices live on rules most people ignore, but when those rules hum, the noise is protective. Artifact status, affidavit of owner. Affiant Evelyn M. Hart states she has not executed any deed transferring interest in parcel 17083120004. References recorder number 20180444512. Requests this affidavit be indexed under her name, and said parcel to alert parties to potential title defect arising from unrecorded attempted instrument. Step 3. Law enforcement, but the right door. I dialed the police non-emergency line at 1242 from Heron's parking lot. Non-emergency, how can I help? I need guidance on an elder financial exploitation concern. There's no immediate danger, funds are frozen. I have bank case numbers, a pending note recorded deed, and texts. They transferred me to a detective who sounded like he preferred facts to adjectives. Detective Alvarez. I kept it tight. Dates, amounts, relationships, the notary who didn't notarize, the bank memo code. Threshold-wise, he said, what we need to open a formal case is intent plus overt act. You've got overt acts, the online draw, the external link, the e-record submission. Intent is suggested by the purchase of the document package and the dinner setup. I'll take an intake now, assign a number, and ask you to email the artifacts. If it rises to forgery or theft, we can escalate. Thank you, Detective. I'll send a single PDF with an index. Artifact Police Intake Confirmation. Intake number 25094471. Det R. Alvarez. September 29, 2025, 13:04. Complainant, Evelyn M. Hart. Allegation, attempted elder financial exploitation, attempted clouding of title, attempted unauthorized HELOC draw. Documents to follow. Obstacle 3, family pressure. At 1317, Ryan called. I watched his name vibrate the screen and let it go to voicemail. Melissa texted instead, "This is getting out of hand. You're making us look like criminals." I typed back, "Systems, not feelings. All draws are frozen pending review. Speak to your own counsel." Mara pinged me mid-packing lot with an unexpected twist. Easy Legacy Docs had a consultation chat transcript attached to the invoice. The first message was Melissa's email. The second was a question: can we get Mom to sign tonight if we bring a notary to dinner? By 3:55 p.m., the cream folder had Wait Bank Freeze memo, intake number, notary statement, title, affidavit draft, invoices, screenshots. I texted Ryan and Melissa, Heron Title, 4:30 p.m. Bring any documents you believe I signed. We'll speak in front of a neutral professional. They arrived together, Melissa's heels clicking like punctuation. Nora Heron ushered us into a glass-walled conference room. A receptionist and a junior closer worked within earshot. Witnesses without being an audience. Ground rules, Nora said. We're here to clarify what's recorded, what's pending, and what's invalid. We don't adjudicate intent. We document facts. Melissa slid a manila envelope across the table as if she were submitting homework. Everything is here. Evelyn agreed last night but got spooked. We're just trying to make things easy. Then you won't mind us all looking together, I said. On top, the estate streamlining pack. Beneath it, a printed confirmation, external transfer, link, Carter Savings 7,789, with my checking account number visible through a poorly cropped screenshot. You accessed my online banking, I said. Ryan's an authorized user, Melissa said. Too fast. He has the login. Nora looked to me. I handed over Dwight's policy note, highlighted, under bank policy. I read, authorized users can view but cannot transact unless explicitly granted by the primary. Fraud has disabled the link and applied memo code FRELD 722, my HELOC. Ryan's eyes were glassy. He wasn't a villain. He was in over his head. I let a beat sit between us. Son, who told you this was the way? You said you didn't want a mess, he managed. Melissa said, this keeps the house out of probate and we need cash for the new place. It's a bridge only for a bit. A bridge you plan to build with lumber taken from my porch without asking, I said. Nora slid the recorder index across to them. This quitclaim never recorded. Missing signature. The system rejected it at 9:03 this morning. In about 5 minutes, I'll notarize Ms. Hart's status affidavit of owner, which will sit in the chain of title as a caution to any future party. Melissa's jaw flexed, so she can just block everything. She can put the world on notice that her title shouldn't be changed without her present consent, Nora said. That's not a block, that's clarity. I placed Adrian's notarized statement on the table. The notary confirms no signatures were executed. Your mailing error story is over. Melissa chimed from my phone. Carla's email. Monday, September 29, 2025 at 4:37 p.m. Subject, SCB 2544118. Update, we confirmed the pending HELOC draw of $25,000 to Carter Savings. 7,789 was originated using saved credentials from device iOS 16. The draw remains frozen. Please see attached link disabling confirmation. C. Nelson, you scheduled the draw for this morning, I said, turning my phone so the subject line showed. Melissa's face went still. We canceled it, she said. That's what the freeze is canceling. See, no harm. Intent plus overt act, I said softly. That's the line Detective Alvarez explained to me today. Ryan swallowed. I didn't mean to, Mom. I didn't think that part, I believe, I said. You didn't think. You let someone else do the thinking. Nora notarized my affidavit, her stamp clicking like a period on a long sentence. We'll record this within the hour, she said. You'll receive a receipt with the instrument number. Melissa stood, palms flat on the table. This is ridiculous. We're leaving. Not yet, I said, sliding one last page out. Mara's notice of revocation and demand to cease, addressed to both of them. I'm serving you this in person and by certified mail. From this moment, any contact about my finances must go through counsel. Retention beat. Melissa's mask cracked fear, not rage, and it told me there was one more piece we hadn't seen. Something larger than a $25,000 draw. Ready to see the whole of it? Nora's e-recording portal chimed at 5:06 p.m. She turned her monitor slightly so we could all see. Filed, she said. Recorder accepted your status affidavit of owner. Instrument number 202-509192. It references your 2018 grant deed and the rejected claim. Any future examiner will see it. That's the paperwork, Melissa said. But families work on trust. Trust doesn't override statutes, I said, or bank memos. I slid a one-page printout across the table. Authorized user equals view only. Transaction authority cannot be implied. External link authorizations require primary account holders. Explicit voice verification at branch. Elder exploitation freeze. FRELD 72 holds for 72 hours. Extensions require supervisor sign-off. Dwight's name and timestamp are on that note, I said. No more authorized user confusion. Melissa's mouth opened, closed. Fine, she said. We made a mistake. We thought we were helping. Helping yourself to a draw, I said. I pulled out the Easy Legacy Docs invoice again and tucked beneath it the chat transcript Mara had found. September 24th, 2025, 1312 user, Melissa.Carter at We want mom to sign at dinner on Sunday. Can we bring a notary? Agent Devon. We provide forms only. You'll need a mobile notary. Make sure she has valid ID and understands what she's signing. She doesn't need to read the whole thing. It's standard, right? That was the small lie, I said. Make it easy. Easy for whom? Ryan rubbed his temples. We were going to tell you everything. After the wire cleared, I asked. Nora knocked lightly on the table. Let's keep it in facts. I laid one more page down like a final card. From Brightline Mortgage Pointer Writing. Pre-UW at Brightline.com to Melissa Carter. Conditional pre-approval. Carter Hart. Purchase. Conditional pre-approval for $479,000 purchase, contingent on 1 verified access to $75,000 down payment. 2 updated proof of equity access from family home borrower, provided description via HELOC or quitclaim. 3 letter from title, indicating clear path to vesting. Ryan looked startled. Melissa didn't. You sent my house as equity access, I said, voice even. That's the big lie. You traded on my name without my consent. Retention beat. Ryan pushed back his chair as if gravity had shifted and he was falling in place. Melissa, he whispered. You told me the HELOC was hers to manage, that she was going to. Melissa snapped. Until she got performative about it. We needed to close before rates reset. It's not a crime to plan. Planning isn't a crime, Detective Alvarez said, his voice now on speakerphone from the center of the table. But executing a draw using credentials you didn't have permission to use can be. Ms. Hart looped me in on this call. I'd like to confirm a few points on record. Melissa folded her arms. You can't just, you can speak or not, Detective Alvarez said. That's your right. For now, here are the immediate steps. Based on the intake and the bank's documentation, we're elevating to a formal investigation. The bank will file its own SAR per federal requirement. I've scheduled non-custodial interviews for both of you tomorrow, 10:30 a.m. and 11:15 a.m. at the station. Attendance is voluntary but recommended. If any attempt is made to access Ms. Hart's accounts or property again, we will reassess probable cause for arrest. Case number 25094471 remains active. Detective, I said, please note, service of counsel's notices received. He said, I've logged notice of revocation and demand to cease, served 1711. I also see the recorder instrument. For clarity, a status affidavit doesn't bar a lawful sale, but it does warn third parties. That matters. He ended the call. The room held a complicated silence. Heron title and escrow e-recording receipt status, affidavit of owner instrument, number 202509192 Hart, Evelyn M. My phone buzzed again. Carla, precise as a clock. Authorized user, access removed body. We have removed Ryan Hart, authorized user from HELOC view, and permanently barred external link to Carter Savings 7789. Freeze extended to FRELD 120 Supervisor G. Patel. Consequences, I said softly, not punishments, just the fruit of choices. Nora slid a final piece of advice onto the table like a mint with the bill. If you want an extra layer, she said, file a simple notice of no trespass for your home and mail it certified. It's not dramatic, it just creates a paper trail if someone shows up to collect documents. Already drafted, I said, and Melissa flinched. We're done here, she said, grabbing her bag. We're not done, I said. We're different, that's all. Retention beat. As they reached the doorway, Ryan turned back, tears bright. Mom, what now? He asked. What happens to us? Abby niece, Aunt Eve, are you okay? I heard yelling, Uncle Joe, not our business. But nobody touches your deed. Melissa left the chat. Ryan, please don't make this bigger. We can talk tomorrow. Tomorrow is for procedures. I'm safe. At 8:03, Mara called with next steps, as calm as a metronome. Tonight, change online banking credentials and enable hardware keys. Tomorrow, we retrieve house keys from Ryan Reiki deadbolts and file a temporary protection order if any pressure escalates. Also, I recommend a written boundary plan. Money, contact, visits. I made tea and worked the list. By 9:12, passwords were new, two-factor tied to a physical key, and paper statements paused. I ordered a P.O. box online, address changed to follow for all financial mail. The porch camera blinked awake with a clean micro SD. At 9:41, Ryan called. I answered. "Mom, I'm sorry," he said, voice rubbed raw. "I thought this would help us get the townhome before rates jump. Melissa said your house is underused." "I didn't see the harm. The harm is using people like accounts," I said. "I love you. That's why there are lines now." "What kind of lines?" "You and I will have dinner Thursday. No talk of my finances, none. You'll bring my spare keys. If you want help budgeting, I'll teach you at the library like everyone else." He breathed out. "Small, okay." At 10:26, Melissa texted separately, "Delete that affidavit or I'll tell everyone you're senile." I forwarded it to Mara without reply. 10 minutes later, the porch camera pinged headlights, pausing at my curb, then rolling on. Morning separated heat from light. At 9:05 a.m., Mara met me at the courthouse. We filled out a narrow stack of forms: name, addresses, short, sworn statement attaching the threats, the attempted draw, and the status affidavit. The clerk explained the narrow lane of a temporary civil protection order, not a punishment, a radius. At 11:22, the judge signed a 7-day temporary order, while scheduling a full hearing for 2 weeks out. No contact order served by Summit County Sheriff Parties, petitioner Evelyn M. Hart, respondent Melissa Carter. Terms: no contact, no presence within 100 yards of residence or workplace. Carve-out: counsel to counsel, communications only. Service landed at 14:32, exactly as the form promised. My phone didn't buzz again. We required the house at 3:15. The new deadbolt tucked into place with a satisfying metal whisper. I left a spare with my neighbor Dottie, who guards porch deliveries like they're state secrets. At 5:02, Carla emailed a final banknote. SAR filed. Freeze extended pending case closure. Your branch will call to reissue fresh account numbers. The firewall held. By dusk, Ryan texted, "I'll come Thursday with keys. I'm looking at an overtime bid to cover the earnest money." "I'm sorry, Mom." Retention beat. I stared at the quiet phone and understood the work wasn't punishment. It was permission to rebuild without being asked to apologize for keeping what I built. The next Thursday, Ryan arrived with my spare keys on a ring shaped like a lighthouse. He stood at the threshold as if the air itself had a password. When I nodded, he stepped in and set the keys on the table, palms open, a gesture that said more than his apology. We ate chicken soup and buttered toast like winter nights when the power flickered and his father would tell us not to open the fridge unless we meant it. We talked about overtime bids, escrow math, debt snowballs, the way interest doesn't care about intentions. He said he was learning that help without consent is just control with good PR. When he left, he hugged me the way he did at 8, fierce, brief, honest, and I let the hug end first. To show him I knew we were both still strong. After he drove away, I sat on the porch swing with a blanket over my knees, the street lamp painting the maple a gentle gold. The house exhaled. A few moths battered the glass like tiny, stubborn thoughts. I listened to the systems I'd set in motion. New locks, new credentials, the affidavit humming in the county's servers, the bank's freeze holding like a levee, the temporary order ticking toward its hearing date. Order is not loud, it's ballast. You don't notice it until the sea tries to take you. I thought about Melissa. Not the version that pointed across the table, but the girl from the photos on my refrigerator. The one with a paper crown from a birthday diner mascara. A little smudged, laughing with her head tipped back like nobody was keeping score. Somewhere between paper crowns and mortgage pre-approvals, she learned the wrong lesson about scarcity, that safety is always just one signature away. I don't wish her harm. I wish her a better arithmetic one that counts people before numbers. Inside, I opened the hall closet and straightened my husband's toolbox. Socket wrench where it belongs, level face down so it doesn't roll, oil rag folded, square corners. He used to say a true level never argues with the house. It shows the house where it's sagging and waits for you to fix it. Boundaries feel like that to me now. They're not walls. They're instruments that tell the truth. They don't shout. They sit on the workbench until you pick them up and look along their edge and admit what tilts. A breeze lifted the curtain by the kitchen sink. I made tea and wrote out a new household rule in my ledger, right under the line I'd added after the hearing date posted. Kindness with documentation. I underlined it twice. I will feed anyone at my table. I will not sign away the roof above it. I will help with budgets. I will not backstop a secret. I will answer my door, but not my dignity. If love is a hand, then boundaries are the wrist bones that let the hand be strong. At the library that weekend, I added a slide to my budgeting class. Not law, not advice, just everyday guardrails. Read before you sign. Call your bank in the morning when your mind is clear. Tell 3 people you trust if someone's rushing you. Write dates on envelopes. Take pictures of stamps. A man in the back, retired firefighter, arthritis in his knuckles, raised a hand and said, "What if they call you selfish?" I said, "If a boundary ruins a relationship, the boundary didn't ruin it." He wrote that down like he was copying a recipe. Dottie from next door brought over lemon bars and the gossip that our street collects like leaves. She asked if I wanted her son to park his truck in my driveway the night of the hearing, just to have a pair of eyes around. I told her no, then yes, then no again, and finally said, "Let's just have tea on the porch and watch the neighborhood go by." We did. 2 kids traded baseball cards at the curb and argued the way children do, full volume, no malice. A runner waved and didn't break stride. Ordinary life made its quiet case for itself. That night I walked the rooms with the slow satisfaction of a keeper counting birds. The oak trim caught the lamplight. The windows stuck, the way they do every warm month. I left them that way on purpose. Imperfections prove that something has been lived in and cared for, not flipped like a coin for someone else's promise. The house wasn't just shelter. It was evidence of casseroles stretched and tools borrowed and a boy who once fell asleep face first on his math homework at this very table. Here is the rule I live by now. Put warm food on the table and your name on your papers. Keep your receipts and your humor. Love can be generous and still say no. In fact, the warmth is what makes the no a promise instead of a punishment. If someone writes their need over your name, countersign with your own hand and make it legible. If you've ever been asked to make it easy at the price of your peace, consider this your permission to choose the slower, sturdier path. Tell me the city you'd have started over in, if you had to. I'd choose right here, oak trim, sticky windows, and a porch swing that knows I kept the deed. And if you come by on a Thursday, there will be soup, a pen that works, and a level that doesn't argue. If you're still here, thanks for listening. I'll meet you in the comments. Your voice matters.